In my Until Dawn video, I used The Last of Us as a good example of how to do a video game adaptation.
Look at The Last of Us. That series is doing great.
I have to admit, I made a horrible mistake. We are now 5 episodes into Season 2 of The Last of Us, and honestly, things aren't looking great. Right now, the show has a 4.2 user score on Metacritic, which is really low. That's a big difference compared to what some big media outlets have been giving it. In a recent GameSpot article, they said the show is getting review bombed. According to them, people are just upset about the so-called woke culture and want more straight characters. Wow, I hope the problem is that simple. Before I get into all the stuff that isn't working in this season, I want to quickly mention the things I actually do like. And don't worry, this won't take long. So first off, I haven't played the game, so my opinions are based only on the show. But even without playing it, I can really appreciate the effort they put into adapting the source material. One thing that stands out is the attention to detail with the sets and props. I've seen a bunch of side-by-side comparison videos online, and honestly, they did a great job matching the look and feel of the original game. It's clear that the team cared about staying true to the world fans know. Now, I know the story might have a few changes here and there, and that's fine. Not everything has to be exactly like the game. Compared to some of the other game adaptations I talked about in my Until Dawn video, this one still feels pretty faithful, and that's actually kind of rare these days. The first 2 episodes were pretty solid, with only a few smaller issues. I will get into those later. But honestly, Joel's death and the attack on Jackson were some of my favorite moments so far. They were intense, emotional, and done really well. The way they handled those scenes really hit hard and set the stage for what should have been an impactful story moving forward. But unfortunately, the good stuff kinda ends there. After the first half of episode 3, when Ellie and Dina head out to look for Abby, that's when things start to fall apart. Most of the problems I have with the show come down to the writing. At this point in the story, I think most of us expected their journey to be extremely dangerous. Jackson had just been attacked by thousands of infected. They even discovered a new, smarter type called Stalkers, ones that actually hide, plan, and ambush their victims. And now they're heading to Seattle, which is deep in wolf territory and full of scars. That place is basically a war zone. You'd think they would have figured that out already just based on all the dead bodies they come across on the way. So it makes no sense for them to casually riding a horse down the middle of the street, playing drums and guitars like they want to get caught. One of the main things that attracts clickers is sound. Just because you don't see any infected around doesn't mean the area is safe. They've been through too much to act that careless. From the second half of episode 3 all the way through episode 5, their journey feels more like a romantic road trip than a mission of revenge. It's easy to forget why they even out there in the first place. They're supposed to be hunting down the people who killed Joel. Speaking of Joel, Ellie seems to have a lot of hate towards him, but the show hasn't really explained why in a clear way, not yet at least. Maybe they're trying to highlight the complicated father-daughter dynamic between them. That kind of tension can work if it's handled well, but here it just feels off. Instead of showing a mature 19-year-old who's been through hell, Ellie acts more like a rebellious teenager. It's like she's stuck in this phase of blaming Joel for everything, and considering all the horrible stuff she's seen and survived, you'd expect her to be more emotionally grounded by now, but so far that's not the case. Besides that, Ellie doesn't have even the most basic survival skills when she's out in the world. She doesn't seem to know how to plan ahead or stay cautious. Her main strategy is to just shoot her way out of every situation. That kind of behavior might make sense if she was some kind of trained killer like John Wick, but she's not. The truth is, Ellie could have been killed several times by now if it weren't for people like Jesse, Dina, and others constantly stepping in to help her. So when she walks around acting like she's some unstoppable force, it doesn't come off as brave. It just feels immature and reckless. What makes it worse is how little respect she shows to the people around her. In episode 5, after Jesse literally saves her and Dina from the stalkers, she doesn't even say thank you. Instead, she acts like Jesse showing up is some kind of insult, like she's offended that anyone thinks she needs help to survive. That kind of attitude doesn't make her look strong. It makes her look childish. So, unfortunately, Ellie as a character is not so likable at all. Maybe Dina is supposed to smooth out the recklessness of Ellie so they can work together as a team, right? On the surface, it seems to be the case, but Dina as the main character has a major problem herself. I don't get her purpose. We already know about the strong bond between Ellie and Joel from season 1, so it makes sense that Ellie would want revenge after seeing Joel get brutally killed right in front of her. But Dina? Her motivation doesn't feel nearly as clear. We barely know anything about her backstory, and the show never really shows us what Joel meant to her personally. Yet she's just as committed to this revenge mission as Ellie is. If you really look at it, Dina's personality feels kind of empty. She's always just there, showing up at the perfect time to fix whatever problem comes up, like somehow knowing the names of everyone who was with Abby when Joel was killed, or backing up Ellie's decision without ever questioning them. No matter what Ellie does, Dina just goes along with it. Some people might see that as love, but to me, it just feels more like she has no real presence or depth as a character. She's more of a support tool than a fully developed person. Then in episode 5, Dina suddenly convinces Ellie to keep going right when Ellie's ready to quit by sharing a sad story about how her family was killed by a raider. And yeah, it's a heartbreaking story, but it doesn't feel like it actually connects to what's going on. Dina didn't need to get revenge for her family, so why would that be the thing that convinces Ellie to continue hunting down the people who killed Joel? It just feels disconnected and rushed, like the show is forcing emotional weight into a moment that hasn't really earned it. By the way, Dina's backstory could have been told in a much better way. Instead of just having her talk about it, the show could have actually shown us what happened. Maybe with a short flashback at the beginning of the episode or placed somewhere that made sense. That would have made the story feel more real and emotional. The way it's handled now just falls flat. And in the show, Ellie and Dina's conversations just drag on without really saying anything. There aren't any strong lines that stand out except the one we all know by now. It's mostly generic small talk like, "That's so cool," followed by, "Yeah." A lot of these moments could have been way more effective if they were shown instead of told. Just a simple facial expression, a small gesture, or even a quick flashback would have done a better job than having characters sit around and explain what they are feeling or seeing. The most ridiculous example of this happens in episode 5 when Ellie and Dina are surrounded by stalkers. Instead of staying quiet or being cautious, they're basically yelling all their thoughts and plans at each other like they're not in immediate danger. I don't know every detail about the setting of the stalkers, and honestly, the characters shouldn't assume they do either. What if the stalker could actually understand them? What if there were clickers nearby, ready to jump on any loud noise? It just seems reckless to shout your entire plan at a place where you are supposed to be constantly watching your back. Show, don't tell is supposed to be the number one rule of storytelling, especially in visual media like TV. I honestly can't believe the screenwriters didn't seem to follow it. And there are plenty of other problems sprinkled throughout the show too. Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Ellie supposed to at least burn her wounds to make sure the fungus doesn't infect Dina? So having sex just 15 minutes after getting bitten without any cleaning or treatment is pretty ridiculous and doesn't make much sense. Also, the way Jesse funds them feels really lazy from a writing perspective. Ellie and Dina was deep inside wolf territory and somehow left their map behind. That's careless and it makes me wonder, what if it wasn't Jesse who found them? What
if it had been someone else? It feels like a plot convenience rather than a believable event. Because the show focuses so much on the romance side of things, there's almost no build-up to Ellie's rage. When she suddenly flips the switch into revenge mode when killing Nora, it just feels off. Based on everything the show has shown us so far, the more logical choice would have been for Ellie to go back and meet Dina at the theater as soon as possible, not go on a killing spree out of nowhere. As you can see, there's just so much to complain about here without even mentioning anything related to the woke culture. And if there's one thing I need to say about it, it's that the screenwriters put more effort into pushing their message than thinking about the plot. That's what's wrong with the show. Okay. I think I will finish this video with a full compliment sandwich, so I'm going to say a bit of good thing at the end. Even though there are only 2 episodes left, I'm still interested in how the story will unfold, and hopefully they won't be as boring as the previous episodes. So I will keep watching and maybe make another video sharing my final thoughts. What do you think about The Last of Us Season 2? Drop it in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it will really help me survive the next 2 episodes. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.